This is Montgomery Mosaic on 1450 WOL, WPRS, HD2, and worldwide on WOLDCnews.com. Montgomery Mosaic features topics of interest to Montgomery County residents, businesses, and visitors. Here now is your host, Deborah Milo.
Good morning, Montgomery County, and welcome to another edition of Montgomery Mosaic. I'm your host, Deborah Milo. I hope you're having a great day and enjoying the beautiful fall weather. It's absolutely gorgeous outside, so get outside today and do something good for yourself. But for right now, we've got a real treat in store for you on today's show, as my guest is Evan Glass, Director of the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media. Let me tell you a little bit about the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media. They do amazing things with our youth, especially within the area of media and communications. So we're going to welcome Evan this morning. How are you doing, Evan?
I'm well, Deborah. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on today's show. Now, I'm sure our listeners would like to hear about how you came to be the director of the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media. So talk a little about yourself.
Well, I have lived in Montgomery County for almost 15 years now, and I've been living in downtown Silver Spring for about 13, 14 of those years. And I was a producer at CNN for 12 years. I had come to American University in Washington, D.C. by way of Long Island, New York, where I grew up, and studied journalism and political science.
Nice.
And ended up working at CNN, covering politics, covering Congress. Had I still been at CNN, I would have been at the presidential debate last night in Las Vegas.
Wow.
And while I was here, I was introduced to Gandhi Brigade Youth Media and was asked if I was interested in mentoring some youth who were interested in news. And I did that for a little while. And back in the day when we had flip cameras, the small predecessors to our smartphones, we walked around the community, took some video, and I showed them the ins and outs of journalism.
Wow, so you've got a really varied and wonderful career, and the fact that you were actually doing some work on Capitol Hill and you came out unscathed, boy, that was really something.
Well, that's because I realized there was actually a greater likelihood of good things happening here in the community than on Capitol Hill.
Absolutely. Talk about the mission and the focus of the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media.
What we do at Gandhi Brigade Youth Media is, well, first off, I'll say we are an after-school program. We are a free program that meets various times during the week here in downtown Silver Spring. And we are essentially a leadership and empowerment organization working with youth from disadvantaged backgrounds. And while we meet, we talk about issues in the community, talk about international issues, local issues, national issues. And the kids really get a sense of what the issues are and how they impact their lives. And while we do that, we also teach them multimedia, teach them videography, digital editing, graphic design. And so ultimately what happens during the course of our program is they combine these two teaching sessions to end up creating multimedia about issues that are important to them, helping expand their voices so that their community and the adults can hear them.
I like how you said expanding their voices, because many times when we talk about the youth or see something in the media about the youth, it's not always as positive. So expanding their voices, I think, is a good way to look at it. So does the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media embrace the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, multicultural understanding, and in what ways?
The organization was founded 10 years ago by a dear friend of mine, Richard Jaggi. And Richard founded the organization because of some of concerns that his children and other youth in the community had about the Iraq War and about the direction they thought the country was going in. And so it was a way for youth to digest these international, global issues and help share their thoughts with the community. And that is why it's called Gandhi Brigade Youth Media, because what Richard envisioned was a youth of Gandhi Brigade individuals who are sharing peace, sharing multiculturalism, sharing their understanding. And so that is at the core of Gandhi Brigade, and in following the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi, we understand and learn about the issues and the community around us. We take the time to really get to know individuals and people, and that learning process is what brings one to enlightenment, and hopefully the products and projects that we produce are enlightened people.
Listeners, if you're just tuning in, this is Montgomery Mosaic with your host, Deborah Milo, and today I'm talking to Evan Glass, Director of the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media. The Gandhi Brigade Youth Media is a pioneering after-school program that empowers young people in the to use multimedia as tools to promote community building, multicultural understanding, and the common good. And Evan's been talking about what exactly the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media, what they do. So, Evan, how can interested young people get involved with the Gandhi Brigade?
Well, I appreciate the question. Right now, we are located in the Black Box Theater in downtown Silver Spring. We have classes on various days of the week, and on Mondays, we actually teach a free graphic design class at the Silver Spring Library.
Wow.
On Tuesdays, we do video production classes, which are split between the library's new Mac Lab and our office in the Black Box Theater on Coles Road. And on Thursdays, we have what we call the Promoters Meeting, and that is an hour and a half to 2 hours where young people get together and we really explore these issues. We talk about what's on their mind. We do some research and have those deep philosophical conversations that help shape the direction of our media projects. But if anyone is interested in learning more about the organization, I encourage you to go to our website, gandhibrigade.org. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram with the handle Gandhi Brigade.
So talk a little bit about how the kids, I don't want to call them kids, let's just say the young people. Talk a little bit about how the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media help the young people develop leadership skills, because, you know, we are cultivating, you know, a generation of leaders, and it's important that they know that resources like the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media is out there to be able to get access. Talk a little bit about how it helps develop and shape leadership skills for young people.
When young people come into our program, it's usually from word of mouth that a friend has told them about this cool thing to do after school. And they come and start learning about these issues, and they learn how impactful these issues are in their day. You know, we regularly attend county forums and budget hearings, and whenever the county executive comes to Silver Spring for an annual forum, we bring 10 to 15 young people to share with him and the audience what their thoughts are. And I can tell you that just last year, the issues they raised with the county executive were about providing more jobs for young people here in the community.
I think I saw that, actually. Is that one of the ones that was, I think it was actually recorded?
It was.
I did see that.
And a clip of that is on our YouTube page, which is also Gandhi Brigade. And other issues aside from more employment opportunities were better access to public transit, because most of the young men and women who are in the program, their parents are working.
That's
if
right.
not one, they're working 2 jobs.
That's right.
And nearly public transportation. And so when the system isn't working or the fares are increased, it has an impact on these young people. And so we learn about that. We impart that wisdom, and they are better prepared, capable of sharing their opinion with the policymakers who are in a position to fix it.
And that helps to, having a chance to attend those sessions helps to shape how they are going to move forward in their lives and to develop really great, leadership skills. And for them, it empowers them, in my opinion, to be able to move on and, make better choices in their lives as well. What do you think?
There's nothing more I enjoy than seeing young people stand up in front of an audience and holding that microphone and asking a well thought out, smart question. And the self-esteem that they build up is tremendous. And the program, is free. It's after school, and I'll be candid and say that in the year that I've been doing this work, of the 25 to 30 youth we regularly interact with, I've only met one parent, because many of them, again, are working 2 jobs, and they're caring for other family members, and have other that they have to do in their daily lives, that to me it's a mark of pride that they trust us, that they're allowing their kids to spend so much time with us without really ever meeting us.
And you know what? And they also probably don't worry about their children because they know that their children are getting something that's so important. They're developing skill sets, and they're learning things that are going to help them, move forward positively in their lives.
Absolutely, and I hope the youth share with their parents the video clips that they produce, the graphic designs that they create, and actually show them what they're doing while they're spending time with us.
It sounds like you have a plethora of wonderful programs that you offer. Do you have community partners that help with the funding aspect?
That is a great question. We are very thankful to Montgomery, whose leader recognized this work is, from the county executive to the county council, and to a few other departments, the cable office as well.
Yes.
We do partnerships. The Jim and Carol Trawick Foundation have been tremendous supporters of Gandhi Brigade over the last few years, and we regularly partner with organizations like the YMCA's Youth and Family Services on projects throughout the community. While our core programs work with high school students, mostly in the downtown Spring area, there are a number of programs where we go into schools programs, including Excel Beyond the Bell, and provide multimedia and leadership training to youth in that respect.
Montgomery County friends, it's Deborah Milo on 1450 WOL on Montgomery Mosaic, and I'm talking to Evan Glass. He's the director of the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media. And we're having a great conversation about some of the various programs the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media offers the community at large with regard to multimedia and communications. Now, Evan, tomorrow I know you're going to be hosting the free screening of the new youth-produced documentary titled Juvenile Justice, The Road to Reform. Let's talk about the film and what it's all about. And let me just say, listeners, I had a chance to see the film, and it is absolutely incredible. It tells an amazing story, but I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to let Evan talk about it.
Much of the spring of 2015 was spent talking about Black Lives Matter. In the Thursday afternoon program I mentioned before, we did a lot of soul searching, talking about racial injustice, about police conduct, about income inequality.
Right. And
there are a few videos that are on our YouTube page that you can see some of these thoughts being developed. And what came out of it was a documentary that we produced over 5 weeks this summer, soup to nuts, 5 weeks, in which the 7 young men who produced the film wanted to talk about the juvenile justice system. And during this the research, they set up interviews, and we went up to Baltimore, interviewed Attorney General Brian Frosh, interviewed 2 young men who've gone through the juvenile justice system. Of it was an 8-minute film about the justice system, and it is premiering, as you said, tomorrow, Thursday evening. And I'm hopeful that other people and other organizations who are interested in this topic will reach out to us. You can contact us at info@gandhibrigade.org if you're interested in seeing the film or organizing a screening. But it is very thought-provoking because it comes from the youth perspective about how the system needs to change. And one of the takeaways is that we spend, on average in Maryland, $34,000 a year to incarcerate an individual, but we only spend about $13,000 a year to teach a student.
That's some heavy statistics. Well, Evan, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. County friends, we're going to take a quick break and come back with more about the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media with my guest, Evan Glass. So please stay tuned.
1450 WOL.
Good morning, WOL traffic.
1450 WOL.
Good morning, Well, traffic update is brought to you by RCN Entertainment Redefined. Southbound 295 is slow now from Burroughs Avenue down to East Capitol Street. New York Avenue inbound, a little heavy from South Dakota Avenue down to Bladensburg Road still. Inner loop at the Wilson Bridge in the through lanes. It was a broken down vehicle in the roadway. A slowdown once again on the inner loop from 210 to get past it. With RCN to go, you can take your TV anywhere, anytime. It's awesome, amazing. RCN Entertainment Redefined. 1-800-RING-RCN or RCN.com. Now your WOL weather forecast brought to you by Subway. For today, mostly sunny, high near 70. Clear overnight down to 48. And for tomorrow, another mostly sunny day and a high near 68. Want to win prizes from Subway and the Redskins? Then text to win. Visit participating D.C. area Subway restaurants or redskins.com/Subway to enter. Limited time only. Steve Hirschhorn for News Talk 1450 WOL, where information is power.
Welcome back, my friends. This is Montgomery Mosaic with Deborah Milo, and my guest today is Evan Glass. He's the Executive Director of the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media, and before we went to break, we were talking about the importance of the documentary that was filmed called Juvenile Justice, The Road to Freedom. And Evan was given some staggering statistics, and I want to pick up where we left off, Evan. We were talking about the film, and you were talking about education versus incarceration, if you will.
Right, and I actually want to correct myself. I'm looking at the information right now, and the data that the youth in our program, in doing research for this documentary, came up with, according to Governing Magazine, in 2013, the state of Maryland spent $38,000 per inmate, but spent only $13,000 per student in kindergarten through 12th grade. And the youth themselves found this to be staggering.
I'm sure they did.
And so when they spoke with other youth who had gone through the juvenile justice system, who had committed some crimes and did some time in the system, the young people they interviewed said, you know, if we had somewhere to go after school, if we had something else to do, we likely would not have gotten into trouble. And the time for the time where the number of incidents by youth are committed is right after school.
That's right.
And so programs like ours and a score of other programs throughout the county, throughout the state, you know, they need support.
Right.
Because the data is there to show that idle hands,
right.
if we change,
right,
the crime will decrease.
So, do you think it has to do with access, or is it specific to communities, or what do you think?
I think, quite frankly, it's just a matter of funding. You know, there are programs that are through the school system. There are programs through the rec department. There are programs like ours, the Brigade Youth Media, that receive funding from all different sorts of departments, agencies, and foundations. And so I don't, quite frankly, know if anyone knows how much money is spent on these types of programs from all the different departments and columns on a spreadsheet, because it is very varied. And sometimes that's just the nature of bureaucracy. Right. But nonetheless, we need to make sure that our youth have places to go as our age population continues to increase. And if anyone saw the newspaper today, it is continuing to increase, and it continues to get more diverse.
Yes, it does.
More diverse than it already was, which is a wonderful thing, but we need to support that.
And see, many times we don't know how to support that, and so that's where the conversations in community forums with elected officials and with, you know, a variety of parents and educators need to come together to talk about these programs that need to be funded. You know, when I was growing up, during the Revolutionary War time, I can remember that there were various programs for my brother and sister and I, and we were so fortunate to live within a community that was very engaged and to have parents who were engaged as well. You mentioned earlier about the parents that really aren't able, because they are working, you know, 2 and 3 jobs, about parents who are not able to come to various programs or to see what their kids are doing with the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media. And do you think the parents at some level do get an opportunity to see what's happening?
I hope they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we communicate with our youth and we put enough of our products, their projects online, and I do hope that they're being shown to their parents. And that's really as I can do, aside from knowing that their parents have trusted us with their children's time after school and sometimes on weekends, and I will be a good steward of their trust.
Absolutely. So what led to the decision to produce a film based on the riots this past spring in Baltimore? I'm kind of curious about that.
Well, quite frankly, it was the death of Freddie Gray,
Yes.
the protests and riots that took place, and I use both those words because we had a lot of soul-searching conversations about what the discontent was.
Yeah, you mentioned that, yes.
And, you know, almost all of the youth who are in our program are minority. They're African American. Some of them are immigrants or first generation. And they had varying opinions about what was happening in Baltimore. Some youth said, "We got your back and we're there for you." Other people appealed to the residents not to take advantage and not to loot, not to be rioters. And one individual, just went on even saying that juveniles, as speaking as a juvenile, they know the acts that they're committing. And so they shouldn't be treated any differently just because they're 16 or 17 or 15 years old, because coming from someone of that age, they are fully aware of their faculties and what they're doing. And so these were the conversations that we had. And as we got ready for the 5-week documentary program, this was the topic that they wanted to tackle. And we spent a few days talking about the mission, then a few more days doing research, video research, and other types of factual research. And, I had talked about the budget differences.
Right.
Some of the other statistics that the youth found out and that we included in the documentary in talking about police brutality and crime, they found out that 69% of deaths from police encounters in the state of Maryland were black individuals.
This is just the state of Maryland?
This is the state of Maryland. Of all the deaths as a result of police encounters, 69% of those who died were black. But black and African American residents of Maryland only make 29% of the population.
Right. That's what's frightening.
Right. And they thought so as well. And so they created a graphic that's included in our film to show how horrific this statistic really is.
Do you, Evan, see it? I know that you're looking, you see things through not only your lens, but through the lens of the young people that you work with. Do you, through their perspective, do you see any positive changes coming about, albeit slow?
I do, because these young people are engaged. They've learned at an early age about some of the more unseemly realities of life, that while we all live relatively well, we go to, their parents go to work, they go to school, we have really good schools, the transportation infrastructure is good for the most part, but not everybody lives in our community and has the means that we all do here in Montgomery County or parts of it. And so imparting this wisdom upon them, or quite frankly, letting them uncover these facts of life, will stick with them forever. I'm confident of that, and many of them are now seniors looking to figure out what colleges they can go to, not only academically, but from a financial perspective as well. And I do believe that that's probably going to be the next topic that we talk about as a group, the high cost of college and where these young men and women do go. But having these facts and having the opinions and having the self-esteem to be able to raise these points, I'm bullish on our future.
Listeners, thanks for tuning in to Montgomery Mosaic. I'm your host, Deborah Milo, and talking to you from the beautiful downtown Silver Spring offices. Hope you get outside and do something good for yourself today. My guest today is Evan Glass, director of the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media, and we're having a very good conversation about, actually we're going to talk about the panel discussion as part of the screening of the new documentary titled Juvenile Justice, The Road to Reform, which will be released tomorrow evening, as a matter of fact. And before we conclude today's show, I'll ask Evan to give some more information about where you can contact in order to see that. Evan, go ahead, Evan.
No, I was going to say that the screening is tomorrow. It's Thursday in the Silver Spring Civic Building, but unfortunately it is sold out.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So we'll have to create another way for folks in the county to be able to see this important documentary. Another important element of the screening is the panel discussion that's going to take place. Tell us a little about that and who's participating.
Sure. Well, we are showing the film, which is only 8 minutes long, but the content begs for a broader conversation.
Absolutely.
And so we will be having Marilyn come and speak with us. Mr. Frosch is featured in our film. We went up to Baltimore, to a residential community in Baltimore, and interviewed him. And we will also have Delegate Will Smith from District 20, Silver Spring, Tacoma Park, and Delegate Smith is also a board member of Gandhi Brigades. And we'll also have some nonprofit leaders talk about the work that they are doing directly in the community. And what I hope to do is replicate these types of conversations throughout the county, throughout Maryland, and even because this is an important conversation to have, and the 8-minute film brings a lot of different perspective to those conversations.
I think it's a critical conversation that needs to take place, and it also needs to take place in various community forums, not just the release of the documentary, but in other community forums as well. Before we run out of time, can you sum up for any young person who might be listening today why they should consider joining the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media and what they can get out of it?
You know, to any young person listening, the future is yours. And what we at Gandhi Brigade Youth Media want to help do is prepare you to be the leader that you are ultimately going to be. And by coming into our organization, you will learn about the world around you, and we will provide 21st century multimedia tools so that you can use your thought and turn those into creative pieces of media to share with the world.
Well, Evan, thank you for coming on today's show. And that's all we have time for today. I'd like to thank my guest, Evan Glass, Executive Director of the Gandhi Brigade Youth Media. Listeners, thank you for spending your morning with us. And remember to tune in again next month at the same time for another Montgomery Mosaic on 1450 WOL, WPRS HD2, and worldwide on WOLDCnews.com. Till next time, be good to each other and make it a positive day.